This week on the show, we're talking Tacoma and a quick news rundown. This is Birds of Play.
Welcome to Birds of Play. I'm John Tyler Macron.
I'm Brandon Diaz.
Logan instead.
And we're talking about Tacoma, which you played a lot.
Yes, I did play.
Talk about it.
You can only play it so much when the whole
Let's
game
hear
lasts 3 hours.
It's only like 3 hours, yeah.
I put up a review on my personal site last night, and basically, Tacoma is from the studio Fulbright, the same people who made Gone Home,
Boo.
formed by an ex-Bioshock 2 dev, Steve Gaynor. And it's essentially a walking simulator / environmental storytelling game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very narrative driven. It's more of a you walk along and kind of experience it kind of game than you actively play a part in how the story unfolds. But the way you choose to interact with objects can change the way you perceive the story. Overall, I don't think it's as good as Gone Home. I do believe. We know why. I do believe that it still has a good story and everything. I just don't think there was that climactic impact that Gone Home had. Like, there's still a twist to Tacoma, but there's no like huge like, oh, she moved away because her family or whatever. Like, there's no huge dramatic thing. Like, there's events in it that are shocking, but not to the degree that Gone Home was.
I mean, to me, and I played Gone Home. I haven't played Tacoma yet. For me, as I've said before on this show, I don't care about Gone Home at all. It's about two boring people doing boring things, and I don't care.
I feel like these kind of games are kind of like The Office, where you're just like watching boring people's lives for entertainment. Like, who cares?
The camera's a little. We'll fix that later. Anyway, we'll fix that after the break. I just I tried it a little bit, just talking to you about it. Like, Tacoma has like the space corporation undertones to it. But just like, to be honest, like as a general undertone, that's far more interesting than this lady misses her sister.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about that.
No,
at all.
and
I don't care.
It has basic themes and it has deeper themes. Is the way I described it in my review. And it was like the basic themes, which
this
are
review is found on polyglot.com.
Polyglot.net. Thank
Polyglot.net.
But puts a banner, the more you know. But no, the themes that are readily apparent in there are stuff surrounding the human condition. What would we do living? What would we do with death? What do we do when we're faced with imminent doom? Do we fight as hard as we can, even knowing it might be futile, or do we calmly and gracefully accept our fate?
No.
But the
Don't
deeper
go quietly into that dark night.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
Yeah. Exactly. The deeper tones that you have, though, are like stuff of what happens with capitalism and how that influences politics, and what happens in the grander scheme of things when people become loyal to corporations. And that loyalty towards corporations ends up giving them benefits or takes away benefits depending on who their loyalties lie with.
Syndicate.
So.
Syndicate.
Wait, which syndicate? The
Yeah,
old
which syndicate were you a part of?
isometric one, or the new one that didn't do too well?
At any point in Tacoma, do you punch an alien and say, "Welcome to Tacoma"?
Welcome to the family, son.
No. This isn't Resident Evil 7. Welcome to the family, son.
Wait,
no.
have you ever played Everyone's Gone to the Rapture?
Yes.
Is it similar to that? I feel like it's like you're just kind of like picking up phones and you're just like, oh, this is what somebody's last message to this.
Not similar in like story-wise, but similar in like gameplay.
Okay,
and stuff
so
like that.
everyone's gone.
Gameplay.
Here's the thing: everyone's gone to the Rapture. Bored the living hell out of me.
I feel like that was a general consensus. It
because-
just wasn't a very interesting game at all.
First off, you can't sprint anywhere, which is really dumb.
Yeah.
And in Tacoma, you can't do that either. But the station's small enough, and you can float around in
And the
zero
person
G.
moves fast enough?
Yeah. Tacoma has fun side things you can do. Like you can play.
Are there mini games?
You can play basketball. You can play
I didn't
pool.
know that. That's
Like
cool.
you can do all this random stuff. Like people have been
That's
doing
nice.
competitions. The basketball
Should be
hoops.
Galaga.
The basketball hoops are a funny thing though, because they're in Tacoma's a rotating space station, like it's in space, and so in the living quarters they have artificial gravity, but everywhere else you're just floating around. So outside, in between the pods, there's basketball, and there's a way that people have been doing it. You can throw the basketball, and if you shoot it just perfect enough where it swishes in the first one, it'll just keep going because of the gravity and the way the thing is rotating. So you can just rack up infinite points. And it's fun stuff like that. And Game
That's really
Informer,
cool.
Game Informer even has a section where they've been playing pool against each other in the game because the
nice.
mechanics are so well
Yeah.
done.
That's really cool.
But going back to Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I found Everybody's Gone to the Rapture to be extremely boring.
Right.
The twist in that game wasn't really good. Like people just disappeared for
Well,
no reason.
I was gonna say, Everybody Gone to the Rapture is one of the few examples of very bad writing where the major mystery of the plot, where they're ready to go, is solved by the title.
What happened? Oh, everybody went
to the rapture.
But it's a good segue into the broader discussion that will fill up most of our time. Are these walkabout simulators actually games or not? Because I wouldn't consider Everybody Gone to the Rapture. That's not a game.
No,
But
that's
Tacoma has gameplay elements.
Yeah.
It's like looking also, a very popular thing in Japan right now, visual novels. There's no gameplay that you just click through, but they're still considered video agames.
Yeah.
Agame.
What is your thoughts, Brandon?
You know, depends on it. I feel like I do this a lot. It's like a case
You
by
need to
case.
lean this way a little bit. That's the best we can do right now.
It's like a case by case basis. Like I would consider Firewatch a game, but that's a more engaging type of like.
But you're actually doing things in that.
Hey,
Like
did
you're
you see
grappling
that fire?
rope and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw that fire. You want to talk about my dad? Okay.
Hey, guys, there's a fire. I'm Firewatch. What do I do? But like, everyone's gone to the Rapture. That's just like a boring waste of like what 3 hours, 3 hours. But Firewatch, Gone Home, like those are interactive. Like it's more engaging.
Right.
So I feel like it depends on the game. In general, though, I'd consider them just more like a visual novel. Like
Now, people will say, because I believe, at least in, like as far as I can remember in North America, the sort of like indie darling that started this craze among most American audiences was a game called, I'm going to butcher the name, it's called like Dear Elise, I believe. Or it's,
Oh,
it's
I
an
know what
E
you're
name.
talking about.
Yeah, it's just a very, like, it's a pretty looking game where you just walk around like a small island little hut and you find different notes and things that are very beautifully written and everything like that. And it's just like a really cool way to interact with the story. But then, people made like Everybody Gone to the Rapture where if you don't have a story and you don't have any gameplay elements, it just completely falls apart. There was that other game, I'm blanking on this name too. I looked it up beforehand, but I forgot. It's the game where like it's a puzzle island. You walk around and there's puzzles everywhere.
There's like 10
Monkey
billion
Island?
of those now.
Oh, I know.
And you're a
I know.
robot. And you're a robot. It just came out. It's The Witness.
I know exactly.
The Witness?
The Witness.
So that's a puzzle game.
Puzzle game, but it's still a walkabout simulator.
Yeah. Okay. So
Walkabout.
there's three different categories I
Dear
derive
Esther.
these to
Dear
be.
Esther is the
Dear.
name.
Oh yeah.
Dear Esther.
There's three categories I seem to drive it in. You have your Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, where you are a character that exists in this world, and you are solely along for the ride.
You're solely
You
for
have
the
no
purpose of
influence
story.
on how the story carries out. The only influence you have.
I wouldn't really consider Everybody's Gone to the Rapture for a ride either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but yeah, no, it's a terrible ride. It's like cruising down in like a 2-mile-an-hour scooter
It's a
that
small
breaks
world.
down every
Yeah.
5. Yeah. And so like, there's that type of game where you're just along for the ride. You have no influence on the story, and the only difference in how you play is whether or not you discover everything there is to be discovered. The next tier to that is something that I believe Tacoma falls into, where you're along for the ride, where you can't really change the events of what happened, but you can have an influence on things that are happening around you. So like things on the station, and even in Tacoma, without spoiling anything, you can decide to be a corporate Scrooge or an intergalactic hero, essentially, as the characters you're playing through. Because one of the deeper themes they also get into is whether autonomous AIs deserve their own rights.
No.
And so it's a very future thing. Despite of what your opinions are, there's a way to play Tacoma. The way that most people are going to end up playing Tacoma is you have
Play basketball, then quit.
you have
This is all it was good for.
you have a book, right? And then you put it in, and that gets the digital AI, like, because the AI in Tacoma has recorded everything. And that's what you end up discovering. You discover the recordings, and you discover the past lives of these people that were on Tacoma Station. And so you're supposed to get those collected recordings. But you can also play by just putting the book there and standing there for 3 hours until the book loads and go off on your merry way.
And then Murph, and then Matthew McConaughey
Yeah.
is like, Murph,
And
read
then-
the book,
Don't let me
Murph.
go,
But
Murph.
go to Digispace, Murph.
As you discover all these things that happen and the reasons why they happen, it changes the main character's mind, and so the plot actually changes. So that's the next tier. The third tier I drive is stuff like Telltale games, where you have a direct impact on what happens with the story. You don't always have complete control over it, but you have a direct impact on what's happening with the story.
That's interesting that you equate it more of a story standpoint, because I equate it more of a gameplay standpoint. At the very bottom, low heap of the garbage pile, you have Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and
Again.
Japanese
Again.
animated novel crap. And then slightly above that, you have games like Tacoma that see the failure of those games. So, okay, we got to put some kind of minigame element
Yeah.
into it. Then you have games like The Witness and the disappearance of Ethan Hunt. I don't know if that's his name, but Mission Impossible.
Edith Finch.
Ethan somebody. Where you it's mainly a puzzle
Yeah.
conquest type of game. Then you have the top of the gameplay, but for me, bottom of the story.
Yeah.
You have Telltale games with just QuickTime events, which aren't really a higher level of gaplay, but they're constant. It's a constant action.
And the thing with Tacoma is it's environmental storytelling. So this
Right.
is, if we all suddenly, this is a horrible scenario, but if we all suddenly died here, like for some reason, and somebody came to investigate,
Ghastly.
they'd find all our belongings in the editing hubs that we have. They'd find your office open. They'd find the front desk empty. They'd find all this stuff, and they'd be like retracing our steps to see what our lives were about, what we were doing. You know, somebody would be writing a story. Although
Right.
we're in a journalism office, so it might be someone in news, but they'd be retracing our steps and stuff. And that's what Tacoma is. Tacoma is telling the story of these people's existence, and it's going from everything from simple conversations about people's sons being worried about them being, you know, too affected by the loss of gravity, to serious stuff like death and, you know, life and things that are happening. So it's my preferred way of doing a narrative-driven game over something like an Uncharted or over something like a Telltale. Those games still have their merits, but I think if you're going to tell a story, this is the absolute perfect way to do it. And I think Fulbright's the best at doing it.
I also think if you're going for delivering a story, this is the better way, because especially like with things like Telltale, I feel like gameplay gets in the way of that. Because instead of saying, okay, we have this, you know, really nice story set piece that's happening in, you know, a game like Tacoma, for a Telltale audience, like, okay, we have this really nice story piece. Now we need to have an action scene in the beginning, possibly in the middle, and at the end.
Yeah.
Which, for me, at least for most scenes, completely devaluates the entire scene. Because something stupid happens, somebody dies for a stupid reason, it just invalidates all of it.
Do you remember season 1 of The Walking Dead and
I do.
episode 3 when they were at the camp right before they left?
I do.
There was like a sniping section where
do.
you had to take out. Yeah, Lee got a sniper, and you had to like shoot the incoming invaders. And I just was like, that was the worst part of that entire game.
Really bad.
Was the part where like they made you do this really crappy cobbled together gameplay.
Video games.
Like it just wasn't entertaining at all. And some games like Tacoma are better at sticking to interactive storytelling than just here's a gameplay thing. But
Well,
like I said, there's still those little things.
I think the core of these games, and the only way they'll survive, is if they have good writing. And they need to have like spectacular writing, which is something that's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
As at least how I see it, in a big community on Reddit, Walking Dead is failing in that aspect. They've been failing for a while now. Most Telltale games have been failing for a while.
We
in the
disagree.
story
We
aspect.
disagree on the season 3 thing.
Right.
Season 2, I agree, was not, up to par.
But even like in other aspects, like especially Minecraft story mode, like that's a steaming pile of garbage. Batman's, I didn't like it. Some other people like, it's 50-50 versus a thing like Walking Dead season 1 where it's it's.
And it also
game of the
goes
year for
back
most
to the
people.
discussion we had a few weeks ago,
Popular ball.
where playing and watching them are two different things, and you totally do have to experience it. And I think Tacoma is something worthy of experiencing, and not just reading reviews of or going to a spoiler cast of, because like experiencing that and seeing the stuff unfold, because it does the same thing that Dunkirk did, where the story is told out of chronological order for a very specific reason. It's to understand the depth and the gravity of what is happening. No space pun intended. So
Gravity, get it? 'Cause that's where space is.
Tacoma.
Yeah. Anyway, to wrap up this segment, Japanese animated novels.
Interesting.
8.5 out of 10.
We're gonna go to a break. Hit that black train.
Spinnaker presents the Spinnaker app. Content for UNF students by UNF students. Listen live with the Spinnaker radio anytime, anywhere. Completely customizable. You decide what news you want, when you want.
Hey everybody.
hey, we're back
Welcome
already.
back. We got,
That was
I want
quick.
to say lightning round, but it's 3 things. So let's hit it. First up, Overwatch. Summer's back. Not much new.
Bum, 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 bum. There's Lucio Ball though.
Oh, yeah.
And it's competitive. They're
Cut that off real
they're
quick.
gonna, I couldn't do the whole thing. It was gonna be a long thing. Lucio Ball is back, which is great. And also, there's going to be a competitive Lucio Ball tier where you can earn competitive points and get those gold weapons. It's gonna
Let's
be great.
keep on making games like Rocket League.
Yeah. I mean, Lucio Ball was like the most fun diversion or whatever. So I'm super happy to see it.
Old skins returning as new skins.
Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old skins are coming back. They're going to be discounted at a cheaper price to buy them outright. So instead of being $3,000 for the top tier, it's going to be $1,000 or credits.
$.
$3,000 for the skin. That's something that what is that game? The space game that people are funding for like 155 million.
Star
Star
Citizen?
Citizen.
Yeah, somebody would buy a
Sure.
skin for $3,000. They bought chips for $2,500.
$400.
Video games are stupid.
Games are so stupid.
But no, because those skins, this was before they let you buy the skins outright. So they're bringing back the old skins so that you can buy them outright at a discounted rate, 1,000 credits instead of 3,000 credits. But also there's going to be some new skins. There's also going to be a new Lucio Ball map set in
Italy?
Russia, I
Because
think.
the last one was Brazil.
Yeah, I think it's Russia.
I don't believe it's
That's where the
Russia.
Olympics is.
Yeah.
We'll be in LA because that's where the new Summer Olympics is. They
In,
announced it, like,
in
2 days ago.
2028. Yeah.
They also made changes to Lucio Ball. if I-
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You can't boop away people anymore. Thank God. That was annoying.
And his ult just makes everything better. It doesn't pull the ball to you anymore.
Yeah, which was really dumb because you could literally just have
Sit at
you could
the-
sit in the goal and like it would come to you and then
Yeah.
somebody could just be like, there you go. So that's exciting.
Moving on, Mass Effect Andromeda died yesterday.
The dev who made it, you idiots.
Ooh.
No, the studio moved away.
They just merged with Motive.
Yeah, they died.
Yeah. Mass Effect Andromeda. If you had any hopes for anything else happening for that game,
It's dead.
end it because that game is dead and gone forever and ever, evermore. I hope we see more Mass Effect, but I doubt it.
Not
mean-
from them.
No. Honestly, I'll say from a business standpoint, like good job on them because a lot of studios will be like, no, this is the best game ever. We're talking about stupid audience. Take this DLC, shove it down your throat. But BioWare, yeah. BioWare was like, nope, it's terrible. Cut it, just destroy it, burn it all. Like, so good on them.
But a decision
They're not
to
forcing it down our
a
throats.
decision to merge a decision to merge with Motive, I think, is going to be good for them.
I mean, at least they didn't lose the jobs.
Good for Motive.
At least
They have
didn't
more
all get
people to work
fired.
with.
Yeah, I mean, Motive. The thing that Motive is working on right now is Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the vehicles for that. So you know, maybe one day we could see them branch out more and split off again.
Like, it wasn't even that the Mass Effect Andromeda devs weren't good at developing the game. They just had a whole mess of
When you
stuff.
hire horses as mocap actors, it's not going to go well.
You know what? Sometimes horses
not
can
gonna
get
go
that
well.
realistic human animation.
I just think the heads of EA are horses, and that's why it went bad. Because they're like, we need more. They're like, we need more time. And
Literally just the heads.
EA's like, we need more time, and they were like, nay.
Hey.
Oh God, that's a cringe fest.
Moving on after that.
But also, quick before we move on to the last thing, Corey Gasper, the lead designer for Anthem and a big part of Mass Effect Andromeda, passed away earlier this week. So our condolences to him, his family, friends, and the studio. Very sad. But moving on, John. PUBG. What
Yes.
about PUBG you want to talk about?
It has a
man?
first-person update, and it's garbage.
Yeah,
It's
kind of-
not horrible.
You can't play it.
They created, so
Don't
if
lie to
people
yourself.
don't know, they created new servers to implement a first-person only mode, and the new servers
How
are
many crates
just
are in that server?
3 are just
Crate.
riddled with bugs. It's completely full of bugs. The early game is almost impossible to play.
I mean, if you can like hide in a closet until half the server dies, then you can play the game and it's great.
I
But
would have
until
hid
that
in a
point,
closet if any of the buildings around me would have loaded and then not frozen my computer.
He
You
had
would
a
have hidden in the
problem
closet anyway.
where all of the assets were just flipped over on their head.
I
and
literally
everything
like
that.
I hopped in the game and everything was just it looked like melted buildings. Like everything was cobbled
Oh, like
together.
a-
Yeah. None
Oh
of the
God,
texture.
I forget that artist.
I
but-
waited.
Salvador Dali.
I waited 10 minutes for a door texture to load just so I could open the door and hide in the house, and it never loaded, and then my computer just froze.
I will say though, after we survive the initial purge and the initial terribleness, it is like it's a new game.
Yeah.
Like me
Feels so
playing it,
different.
like you played PUBG with me. You played PUBG with me often. In third person, I was always terrible. I never killed anybody. I always got
Now you're
murdered
just slightly
immediately.
terrible.
No, now I'm actually like I'm adequate.
He's competent.
Yeah. Like I'm able to go toe to toe with people. Like
It's like a
you
whole
know,
different. It's
a whole
honestly like a
different
whole
game.
different game.
It feels complete. It feels way better to me anyway. It feels so fantastic.
I watched some people who had better luck yesterday playing it. I watched Jericho play.
We'll actually be putting up footage. I captured footage
got
the
some
other day,
footage
and
up.
we'll have some up right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it definitely changes the way the game works, and I'm excited when it's more
actually
optimized to play
fixed.
it. But
They did say, like yesterday, we got on around midnight because that's when I finished my paper. But there was a big announcement from the devs saying we've identified the problems with it. There's a lot, so it might take a while. But just so you know, we found it.
no,
We
I
found
remember
it
I
out,
saw
yeah.
that message on the side of the screen. It popped up and it was just like, we've identified the problem, but this will take a while.
Yeah.
Please bear with us.
I saw another funny thing on Reddit.
Which is nice that they're just like, hey, we got it.
I saw another funny thing on Reddit where people had been saving up their battle bucks and they bought all of the key
battle
crates.
bucks.
But they bought all the key crates and then they've been selling them on the Steam marketplace.
That's pretty smart.
And because it's such a new system, all the prices are very high. So everyone's like, oh, I refunded the game anyway. It's basically free now, so I don't care. Like, no one really cares because they're still like, oh, we've got the price back. We got our money back. Who cares?
Oh my god.
So the crate system, nobody likes it. Nobody likes
That's
it.
pretty awesome. That's pretty good on
Yeah,
those people.
it's good on those
He
people.
addressed paid DLC earlier this week, though, the devs, and he was basically just saying, like, it is what it is.
We
I
got
mean,
to
I-
make money somehow.
I don't really care. Like, if it's a good game, it deserves like microtransactions. I don't really care as long as it maintains
No game
cosmetics.
deserves
I
microtransactions.
did-
I mean, it's good.
I found a guy who had a premium orange shirt, very bright premium jumpsuit on, and premium Yeezys. I killed him immediately.
He was
fun.
so. Dude, we played a game where we were in all white, and we are like, "How are these people seeing us?"
Yeah.
This
It
guy's
was
gonna be like across the map in his yellow jumpsuit.
I did kill a guy in like a red jumpsuit yesterday. I saw it. I was like, this looks really good. I'm not going to wear that because someone's going to see me from a mile
I
away.
can't wait for just that last minute to be seen by the FBI.
I killed this guy in an orange jumpsuit.
Exactly. Took his Yeezys.
What is this, Splatoon?
Anything else? Any other news? We want to wrap up real quick.
No, let's wrap up real quick. This is a quick old episode.
A quickie.
Japanese visual novel.
A quickie Japanese visual novel.
Japanese
Birds of
visual
Play,
novel.
episode 46.
I'm John Styler McCrum.
I'm Miranda Diaz.
I'm confused.
And this is Birds of Play.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Remember to cut to that credit cam.
Yeah.
Like when the credit cam comes up, a big logo comes up. Credit cam, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Why would we want to be sponsored by Morgan & Morgan?
Because they got the law.
I'll match your weed donation 9 times.
We'll fight for you.
We'll fight for me.
Is everybody named Morgan & Morgan?
Everyone's in Morgan & Morgan.
You're lying,
Law
Morgan.
Associates. You're lying, Morgan.
That's
You're
what the
lying,
judge-
Morgan.
That's what the judge
I
says
like
in
your
court.
ass.
That's what the judge says in court. He's like, you're lying, Morgan.
You're lying, Morgan. All right.